In a small village by the sea, there lived a quiet woman named Clara. She worked as the village library assistant. The people often call her the keeper of forgotten things. She loved books more than she loved company, and she spent most of her days dusting old bookstands and reading stories from faraway lands. That year, something strange began to happen in the village. The same sea that once blessed the fishermen turned against them. It began quietly at night. When the village slept, the wind would carry strange cries from the water, like someone calling a loved one's name. But as the day passed by, the voices grew louder, mixed with sound of splashing and mourning. No one knew where it came from. Then, one morning, the first fisherman went missing. His boat returned at sunrise, drifting alone on the calm water. His net was still full of fish, but he was nowhere to be found. People thought maybe he had fallen by mistake, but the next day it happened again. Another fisherman gone, his boat gently rocking by the shore, his lantern still burning. One evening, three young fishermen decided to find out what was happening. They were brave men, strong and full of laughter, and they said, "No spirit can scare us." They pushed their boat into the dark sea and sank to keep their hearts strong. But when they reached the middle of the ocean, the wave became still. The air turned cold. The moonlight disappeared behind sea cloud. Then they heard it, a slow heavy sound like something breathing beneath their boat. Suddenly, the water around them began to bubble. From the deep, a huge pale hand rose from the sea. Its fingers were long and thin like roots, covered in the seaweed and dripping with slime. Before the men could move, the hand grabbed the first fisherman by the leg and pulled him into the dark water. The others screamed, tried to run, but the sea had turned against them. A second hand rose, catching the second man and dragging him down. The last fisherman shouted for help, but the ocean swallowed his cry. His boat flipped and the waves crashed hard, as if the sea itself was angry. By morning, the villagers found the boat floating upside down near the shore. No bodies, no blood, only their fishing nets, tangled and torn, as though something had pulled them apart from below. From that day, no one dared to go fishing again at night. The villagers said the sea had remembered something they had forgotten. A spirit once honored, now awakened in anger. One afternoon, during the rainy season, Clara found an ancient book buried deep in the library corner. Its cover was torn and its pages smelled of the ocean. When she opened it, a rusty golden key fell out. She held it carefully and whispered to herself, "Who hid a key in a book?" As she looked at it closely, something strange happened. She heard a faint sound, like a whisper carried by the wind. It came from far away, from the direction of the old lighthouse that stood on the edge of the village. That lighthouse had been silent for many years. The villagers said it was cursed. They claimed that anyone who entered it came out speaking to things no one else could hear. But Clara's curiosity was stronger than her fear. She felt the key was calling her name. The next morning, when the mist covered the sea, Clara walked to the lighthouse. The air smelled of salt and secret. She reached the door and placed the key inside the lock. It turned with ease, as if it had been waiting for her. Inside, the room was dark and cold. Dust floated in the air, and the sound of the waves echoed through the walls. On a wooden table, she found a diary. Its first page carried her grandfather's name, a man she barely remembered. As she opened it, the whisper grew louder. The word on the page seemed to move, shifting like waves. Her grandfather had written about a light that could speak, a spirit that lived inside the lighthouse. He said it was not ordinary light. It was a guidance spirit of time and memory. placed there long ago to protect the village from destruction. But her grandfather warned that the spirits had grown restless because people had stopped honoring it. They no longer light candles by the sea. They no longer told stories by the shore. The spirits became lonely and began to whisper, calling out for someone who still believed. Tears filled Clara's eyes. She realized that her discovery was not a mistake, it was a summary. The spirits had chosen her, the keeper of the forgotten story, to restore what was lost. Clara picked up an old lamp beside the library and lighted it. At that moment, the whole lighthouse began to glow. The wind outside calmed, and the whispers turned into a gentle voice. "Thank you, child," the voice said softly. "You have remembered me. For years, the people forgot the stories of the sea, and darkness almost swallowed this land. But now, light will shine again." The lamp burned with a strange blue fire, and when Clara looked out through the window, she saw the sea glowing, waves dancing like spirits set free. When morning came, the villagers saw the lighthouse shining again after many years. They gathered by the shore in wonder, whispering Clara's name. She came out with calm eyes and said, "The light was never gone. It only waited for someone to listen." From that day, Clara became more than a library assistant. She became a story guardian. Every evening, she told children about the spirit of the lighthouse, how stories keep lights alive. And when people forget where they came from, darkness returns. The lighthouse never dark again. And sometimes, when the wind blows at night, villagers say they can hear gentle whispers around it, not of fear, but of memory, telling them, "Never forget your stories, for they are the light that guides your path." Now, when people forget their roots, traditions, or stories, their inner light fades. Remembering who you are restores your power.